guys, and welcome back to a new YouTube video. So this is quite an interesting weekend I'm going to share with you because we are going to Belgium and we are doing another battlefield study tour. This time it's only over the weekend as it is in Belgium, and it is World War I. It's going to be pretty exciting. I don't really have much knowledge on the particular things we're going to be looking at in this battlefield study, so it's definitely going to be a very insightful trip. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So right now I've just packed, I'm about to leave. I've got to go to the unit so then we can get picked up and get driven down to the tunnel crossing and then go to France. We're driving as well, it's not flying, we're driving from basically London all the way to Belgium, so it's going to be a long day on this first day. But yeah, tomorrow when we're actually in Belgium, I'm sure we're going to do some interesting stuff. Landed in Belgium. Currently 1:30 in the morning. Gonna get up to go for a run tomorrow. Sleep is not on the agenda clearly. Basically going to bed. So we'll see you tomorrow. I'm in Belgium. Okay, so back from our morning run, I'll show the stats here. Basically, we just went for a tour around like the town that we're at. It's actually really nice. I'm like sweating so much. It felt really cold when we first went out, and then after like a K, it got hot. So yeah, it's gonna be a nice day today. Now we're at the run, we're gonna get ready, go to breakfast, and yeah, and then head on with the itinerary for today.
So we had a continental style breakfast before getting on the road and heading to one of the first Commonwealth War Grave commissioned cemeteries of the trip. When you entered into the cemetery, there were metal posts lining the street, and on each one there were notches which represented how many lives were lost that day, which really set the tone before you entered. There were over 10,000 burials in this cemetery, which made it the second largest one in Belgium. The second stop was to Messines Ridge, which hosted a week-long battle in the war, which was won by the British. It was a really key position because it overlooked the town and allowed the British to launch an attack towards Passchendaele later on in the war. This was then a short walk away from Huge Crater and the museum that was there. There was plenty to see in the museum, but one of the key things was these scenes showing kit and weaponry of the time, which was really interesting to compare the kit we have now with what they used then, and also to tangibly see the era which we were looking at. One thing of interest was the cap badges and regiments display, which was interesting to see how they had amalgamated over time to turn the British Army into what it is now. So once we'd looked at the museum, we headed to the trenches. They had a British trench and a German style trench, and you can see the differences between each one. The German style trenches had a lot of wicker, where in contrast the British trenches used a lot of corrugated iron, and it really allowed you to put yourselves in the shoes of the soldiers in World War I as you walk through the trenches, and to be able to visualise and understand how the battles were fought then. Once we'd looked round the trenches, we went to Vancouver Corner, which is a Canadian War Memorial. After this, we went to Hill 60. Hill 60 had tactical significance as it gave the Germans good views into the British lines. Two of the highlights of Hill 60 are the huge crater that was blown by mines, which is 30 foot deep, and the German pillbox. After Hill 60, we headed back into the town of Ypres, grabbed something to eat and had a general look round. We headed to this chocolate shop to get some souvenirs, and they had such variety of chocolates there. Honestly, we were literal kids in a candy store. And after this, we went to go and check out Menin Gate. Menin Gate is a memorial to the missing for the British and Commonwealth soldiers who were killed and whose graves are still unknown. They have a last post ceremony every evening at 8 p.m. where buglers close the road off and everyone gathers round and you can lay a wreath. This ceremony has been happening for almost 100 years, with the exception during World War II German occupation. As we were laying a wreath that evening, we wanted to go and check out Menin Gate and have a look round before the crowds got there. So it's Sunday morning now. This is our last day here in Belgium. Packed up, ready to go. It's about 7:40 in the morning. Just had breakfast. Last night, basically, we had dinner. Then we did the last post, and then we all kind of went out into like the town here, had a drink, and then we're going to be leaving shortly to go do the last few stops on this tour before heading home, because obviously it takes about, I think, 6-7 hours or something it's going to be to drive all the way back to Calais, get the tunnel crossing, and then all the way back to London, and then I'm in London all the way back home. So it's going to take a while. We've also timed it quite well because whilst we're here in Belgium, they're doing like a cycling race. So the last day or so that we've been here, there's been like so many professional cyclists or people that look professional just sort of riding around in like big gaggles. So it's been quite cool to see that. But today is like the day of the race. So I think in about half an hour, it's gonna like amp up the level of cyclists that we're going to see, which is quite cool to have that whilst we're here. So yeah, other than that, we'll be leaving shortly. I'm also just sort of admiring this view from our window. What a stunning location! The fact that this is our room, and we literally look out at the Menin Gate. Like, that's mad. The weather on our last day took a bit of a turn, so as you can see, there was a lot of fog. The first place we went to was a cemetery for the New Zealand efforts, before moving on to the Irish Peace Park, which is a war memorial for the soldiers of Ireland. I really liked looking around this memorial, as I personally have Irish heritage, and I really liked that the tower itself is made up of stones imported from Ireland. And with the design, sun can light up the interior on the 11th day of the 11th month at 11 o'clock. There was also bunkers, of which were a short walk away from the Irish Peace Park, which we had a look at. After visiting the Irish Peace Park, we went to look at a German cemetery, which really highlighted the differences between how the Germans bury their dead and how we as Commonwealth buried ours. The German cemetery had a very dark, gothic feel to it. There was a mass grave with over 24,000 soldiers there. And in contrast, a lot of the Commonwealth war graves resembled more of a garden and had a lot of a lighter feel. We certainly saw this difference, as after we visited the German cemetery, we had lunch on the way to Tyne-Cot, which is the largest Commonwealth war grave cemetery in the world. Tyne was the last stop on our tour before making our way back to London.
Back from Belgium, back in London at the moment. I wanted to hop on and I guess explain the benefits and summarise the trip generally and explain what I got out of it. So before I went on this weekend, I had such limited knowledge of WW1, especially in Belgium, and it was a real, I guess, eye-opening learning experience to learn about the particular battles that happened and what we studied about. To be able to see the kit and see the land and see what happened, I think they're obvious benefits of going on a battlefield study tour, you know, learning about the particular battles and just having a deeper knowledge of the history. But I think what I also took out of it is the fact that it was really nice to go away with a group of people across the battalion, people that I wouldn't necessarily hang out with, people that aren't in my company, and to be able to bond with them, get to know them, was a really, really great experience. I feel like I've made connections within the battalion that I wouldn't necessarily have made without going on that trip, so I think I'm really appreciative of that, as well as the history that I've gained. If you ever get an opportunity to go on a battlefield study tour, I definitely recommend that you go. I think the initial reception for some people to when they hear the battlefield study tour words is, well, it sounds a bit boring, but you learn so much and they're not boring, they're quite fun actually, and you get to know so many different people. It's definitely worth going. I've gone on a few now and I've loved everyone that I've gone on. I think they've been really, really great. So I definitely recommend you go on one if you can. So I hope you like this video, I guess, documenting the process of this particular battlefield study tour from the First World War. And I hope you find it interesting. I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!